I now introduce you to Judith Lisi, who's hosting this and is president and CEO of the David A. Straz Center for the Performing Arts. Judy?
Thank you, Aaron. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I am so happy to see all of you up here bright and early. I know many, many of you, and isn't it wonderful that once a year, all of us in the not-for-profit sector can come together and learn from each other, but celebrate the great work that we all try to do every day, and to think of the difference we are all making in this room. I want to particularly, of course, thank Warren Rogers and Dr. Zena Lansky. They've been such a powerhouse of leadership for so many not-for-profits here, and it was their vision that brought us here. So we are so grateful to them. We started the not-for-profit 4 years ago, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I think you're going to be thrilled at the quality of the speakers that Warren and Zena have so diligently assembled for us today. Warren asked me to do a reprise of a talk that I gave at the inaugural not-for-profit workshop 4 years ago. So I've just changed it a little bit, but I went through it and I said, yeah, I looked at 35 years of fundraising. I've been doing this for a long time. And I tried to think about what are those principles that have really worked, that keep working, and that I've learned. And I know many of you could be up here giving this same talk because I know many of you have learned the same things. But I think it's probably good just to bring them out and think about them again. So I call it Passion with Patience, because if I look at fundraising, that's how I really look at it. I think you have to be passionate about the work that you're doing. If you really, really believe that it's important, if you really believe that you are transforming individuals, the community, you really can raise the funds to do it. I always believe that funds will follow high-quality work. And if your work makes a difference, there are going to be people who understand that. So I think passion is absolutely essential. We're so fortunate to live in this great country. America is the most philanthropic nation in the world. There is no country that raises the money that we do. You know, we are a country of immigrants. We've all come from different places, and many of us came up, you know, with little, and we're fortunate enough to make a living in life. So I think many of us have learned that there is great need, that we were the fortunate ones that were able to be educated, and we were the fortunate ones that could make a difference. But I think most Americans understand that the only way you make change is by supporting those organizations that can make change. So I think as a culture, we embrace that. The one thing I was saying earlier about passion is good. Passion is great. But the thing that donors look for is also good management in your organization, especially today. People who have the funds to support many different organizations, they look at it as an investment in the community. So they want, as they invest their dollars to make money, they want to invest in an organization that's going to have great results, and an organization that is well managed, an organization that understands that as important as the work is that they're doing, that the business principles they bring to it are also important. That gives donors a sense that their money is going to be best used there, and they'll come back. If they see that happening, they will definitely come back. So I always believe, I remember when I first came to our Performing Arts Center here, which is just one of the most beautiful, and it's been such a privilege to be here all these years. But when I came here, it was called the Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center, but when I would read about it in the paper, it was the financially troubled Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center. Everywhere I looked. So when I first came down and I met with the board, I said, the first thing we have to do is we have to get that financially troubled part out of the title. It's got to be just the Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center. And fortunately, with a lot of great help, we were able to do that, because there has to be a confidence in your organization that you bring to your donor. The next thing that I think is always important is how we tell the story of the organization. And the story can be told in so many ways, but it usually boils down to the person that has been changed or transformed. It's hard for us as humans, to grasp big, large concepts. But when they see a child, for example, we have so many wonderful stories here with children at the conservatory who couldn't afford to come, and they would come on scholarship, and they maybe went through a terrible family crisis. And this is true. I'm telling a story right now. There's a child who couldn't talk. And his parents came to us and said, do you think you can help? He likes to play the saxophone. So he came in and started taking lessons. Then he started coming to some shows here. And in 6 months, he was talking to everybody. It gave him another voice. And I think all of you in your work, you've seen those moments when something has changed, and it's because of the work that you're doing that you affected that change. And that's what our donors want to see. They can see it in one person. It's hard when I can tell you 600,000 people come here a year. That's a big number, yes. But I can tell you it's more meaningful when you can look at the faces of people sitting in the audience looking at artists up here. That's what really tells the story. Sincerity. I think sincerity is so important when you're dealing with donors, because they need to know you really care. But you have to really care. It can't be just a job. You have to really care about what you're doing, because donors have a lot of choices. But if they know you believe in what you're doing, they'll be there to support you. So sincerity is equally important. Rejection. Have any of us not had rejection? But I have this little thing I do in my head. I said, well, it's not really no. It's a no for now. So what do we need to do to turn the no into maybe next time a maybe a little gift, and then it becomes a big yes. So what does that mean? That really means developing relationships with your donors so that they know who you are, you know who they are, you know what's meaningful to them. And the next thing is to matchmake. We become matchmakers. How do we match the interest of a donor after we've had a number of conversations to what our mission is, our parts of our mission? How do we relay that mission to a donor so it connects to them, so that they can see, yes, I can make a difference here in a way that I feel is a good way? I think donors really are our best friends, and we always have to think of our donors as our best friends. Think about it. A wonderful man who was chairman here, Frank Morsani, he gave a talk one time at USF, and he said, this is what we must do. We must learn, earn, and give back. And I think that's true. They have learned, they have earned, and now they're ready to give back. But they will be your best friends if you open yourself up to them. And listen, they've got a lot of great things to tell us. Sometimes we think we have to hear the answers until a donor says, yeah, but what I was looking at was this. And like, oh, hadn't thought about that. So we can constantly make ourselves better and look at our donors as our best friends. I really believe that no matter what the cause is, even if it's a very serious one. We're all in health, welfare, or the arts. You know, we are here for one reason, because the private sector can't figure out how to do what we do, and that's the truth. The reason why there's not-for-profit is because our not-for-profits are taking care of issues and problems in a community that are vital to be taken care of, but the private sector can't do it. So that's why we are all here. And our donors know that. Most of them are very, very successful business people, and they know that we're needed. But no matter how serious our not-for-profit is, I always believe we have to bring joy and creativity to our fundraising approach, because people like to be around people who are joyful, who do smile. And I think our fundraising method should show that. Just look at how successful many of these walks for heart are, walks for breast cancer are. And this latest phenomenon of the ALS walk for, the ICE challenge, I mean, that has been tremendous. Think of what that has done. ALS, I have 4 dear friends who suffered with ALS, and it's a very difficult disease. But look what joy they have brought to the fundraising process and awareness of what this illness is about now in a way that has just gone viral. So with that, I'll say be joyful, be creative, and we're not doing the ALS thing because I'm not as brave, but we're going to do something. So here I am.